In late November 2021, a hiking YouTuber named Phil, who runs a channel called Hike Slam, went out for an overnight hike along the Appalachian Trail near his home in Virginia. It was the night before Thanksgiving, and the plan was simple: camp out alone on the trail and film the trip like he always did. But what he found out there that night was unlike anything he'd come across before.
As I was walking up, I saw some trash in the trail, and I came across this. So some Bud Light cans, plastic bat, some writing on some of this garbage. This one. Hangman is coming down from the gallows. Song lyrics. Other weird things. Well, hopefully I don't get murdered out here. That would totally ruin my day. Oh, let's keep going.
Scattered along the side of the trail were pieces of trash covered in handwriting, song lyrics, poems, conspiracy theories, ramblings about undercover federal agents, and what looked like personal diary entries. Further in, near the entrance to the wilderness section, he found more notes, and lying right beside them was a dead duck.
The weirdness continues. What the hell? And there's a dead duck here. A very long note. And it looks like it was just put here because it's not wet. That duck is fairly recently killed. Alright. Kind of creepy.
About 20 yards from the notes, a campsite sat with a tarp stretched out and a fire still burning. Phil kept his distance and continued up the trail. Along the way, two women with a dog stopped him and asked if he'd seen whoever had been leaving the notes and dead animals. When he mentioned the campsite, they asked him to walk them back to their car. He did, then turned around and hiked in the opposite direction to find somewhere safer to spend the night. He made it to another shelter about 2 miles away and settled in for the evening. But that's when things got even more creepy.
Got the shelter log here. I hang out by the fire. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log where people write in their trail names and what's going on. They can write whatever they want in there. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. Little engine, back section. Hiking again finally. Great day on the AT. This was in August. Huh. Someone left some PBRs here, I guess. It's nice and little trail magic. Some comics and writing and stuff. Alright, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. Hold on, let me adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here. Let's see if this makes any sense. Sorry if the lighting's bad. I'm just gonna see what it says. Cleaned the outhouse. Picked up trash. Collected wood for others. See Charlie Daniels' Simple Man lyrics, which I used in 2013 Facebook post. And note the rope I found with the silicone sealant can 2 miles south of that. I left it on a stump. In 2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail. What the heck?
Later, while going through the shelter's logbook, something stopped him. The handwriting was the same. Whoever had left those notes and that dead duck on the other side of the road had also been to this shelter. The entries talked about jail, solitary confinement, religion, and jumped from one paranoid thought to the next. Based on what he was writing, he was a convicted felon moving through the same stretch of woods Phil was now camping in alone, with nothing to defend himself with.
Trump, Nebo, allowed Obama to have the special use of the Air Force One for a trip to Palm Springs. This is the same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary. Kind of weird. Those women down there said they were going to call the police on the guy. I know it's really hard to read in this light. Sorry about that. Let me move that there. Wow, this is weird. It's just like it goes in one direction, then immediately goes in a completely different direction. And there's just so much of it. Like this line up here. Think grave robbery in an attempt to obscure the reality of Little Mrs. Wolf. Content. Come up with some more of those wicked schemes, JB and company, so I can show some more of your true character. In the past, the Russian collusion assertion have been followed up on many occasions with the advancement of illusions that would show discord in fiction between the colluding parties. You're falling faster. Obey your master. The Metallica lyrics. What the heck? Okay, that's crazy. Okay. Emergency press conference. So I thought it would be a fun little thing to look at the Johns Hollow shelter log. That's where I'm staying, Johns Hollow shelter. And just check out trail names and what people's experiences were on the trail. And it was fun at first. But man, once I came across that guy's writing, it was so weird.
Before turning in for the night, Phil walked back to the shelter one more time and found half a Gatorade bottle hanging from the ceiling on a string, written on it in the same handwriting. Watch out for Yeet Mouse, the dead do walk and talk. He tried to get some sleep after that, but with everything that had happened, he was on edge. Then sometime during the night, he heard movement outside near the shelter. He looked out of his tent and saw a single figure wearing a headlamp walking around in the dark. Phil didn't want to find out if it was the same person behind the notes. He packed up his gear as quietly as he could, left in the middle of the night, and didn't stop checking behind him until he made it back to his truck. He got home safely, but whoever was out there that night was never identified. In 2018, John Kelly, a backcountry camper who runs a YouTube channel called Lost Lakes, posted this footage from a solo overnight stop west of Chapleau, Ontario, an area known as the Black Bear capital of the world. He had pulled over at a remote gravel boat launch near a small lake to save on a motel, and by 3:30 a.m., something was pacing around his tent. No cell signal, no way to call for help, and whatever was out there didn't sound human.
An animal of some kind pacing around my tent. It's the middle of the night. I woke up at 3 a.m. and just couldn't sleep. And then around 3:30, I started to hear this pacing sound. And 45 minutes later, it's still just pacing around out there. So I'm gonna talk it out with the GoPro and maintain sanity, and maybe the talking will make it go away. I'm just off Highway 101, west of Chapleau. So this is some very remote country, despite being right off the highway, and it's the Black Bear capital of the world, so I'm thinking that's a possibility. To keep the paranoia away, as I call it, we got three main tools. If you're a solo camper, I think these are well worth having with you. Even in the backcountry, it's a little extra weight, but a little air horn. That's the first line of defense, along with the headlamp. The bright light can be a good tool in trying to blind an animal that has much better night vision than ours, but would be very sensitive to light. Second line of defense, if the thing starts poking its nose at the tent, then I have got this little hatchet here, which I could whack it with this like sheath on, and worst case, take the sheath off. And then last line of defense, you might think this would be the second one, is the bear spray. If I use the bear spray in the tent, I'm going to get blinded and incapacitated. Probably more than, let's say, a bear, if it is a bear. If it were to try and raid my tent, I'm probably going to get the worst of it. The idea being that hopefully it also gets hit and runs away, and then I can just recover in safety. So a few bonus items. Something literally just touched my tent before I turned on the camera. But I don't think it's whatever is making that noise. It was probably just a mouse or something. But I'm not really appreciated right now. Second, there's no cell signal here. And third, I have to pee. It's really just comical, almost. And despite the paranoia, I found myself almost falling asleep here again. It's amazing how you can, I don't know, just your brain starts to forget about the threat after it's been over an hour now.
Considering where he was camping, it was most likely a bear or some other large animal, and a thin camping tent wouldn't offer much protection if whatever was circling decided to do more than just pace. John made it through the night safely, but he never found out what was walking around his tent that night. In September 2022, a camping YouTuber named Sean, who runs a channel called Love Sundays, uploaded footage of a solo overnight stay in his van along a quiet road in Cornwall, England. He had parked somewhere he knew he technically shouldn't have been, so he kept things low-key that evening, lights off, noise down, trying not to draw attention. By 9 p.m., he was asleep, but around 2 a.m., things took an unsettling turn.
I just heard something outside. What? Okay, I think they've gone. They literally tried to get in the van. It wasn't just a knocking, they were trying the handle. Let me check outside. My heart was pounding then. I mean, they were either trying to move me on or trying to break into the van. Either way, not pleasant. I think that if I'd heard them coming in more, I've got a metal pole here, I could have just got out and not done anything. I'm not moving. I'm probably not going to sleep now though.
It's not uncommon for solo campers to be asked to move in the middle of the night, especially when they're parked somewhere they shouldn't be. But when that happens, there's a knock, a voice, someone explaining why you need to leave. Whoever was outside Sean's van that night didn't do any of that. They went straight for the handle without a word, and when it didn't open, they left. Sean wasn't bothered again, and by morning, he was back on the road. On June 6, 2025, a hiker named Dundee, who runs a YouTube channel called Dundee Hikes, was 38 days into a through hike of the Pacific Crest Trail, a journey that stretches from the southern border of the U.S. to the north and takes over 5 months to complete. During that day's hike, he came across a single car sitting on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, completely out of place. He decided to film it, and moments later made a discovery that ended his day on the trail.
All right, so it's been a couple days since this incident happened, and I thought I would try to give you a more coherent account of what happened than just the videos show. And I'll show you the videos after I finish talking. There's nothing graphic in there, so no need to worry about that. So anyway, I broke camp at Islip Saddle. that morning, and I decided to do like a mile more of road walk before joining the PCT again. And as I approached the Javis Memorial Picnic Ground, I noticed there was a single car in the parking lot, and it was backed up to the edge. But what really caught my attention was that the back tires were way up on the embankment. So that caused me to walk over and take a closer look. And that's when I noticed the rope that was tied to the back and disappearing over the edge. And I really didn't even think anything about it at that moment. I pulled out my camera and I took a little video, something like, hey, look at this is weird, I guess I'll never know what was going on here. And I started to walk away. And then my curiosity got the better of me, so I dropped my pack and I grabbed the rope and shuffled down to the edge. And do you ever see anything and just think to yourself, what the heck is going on here? And unfortunately, knowing that you will never know. Well, my curiosity got the better of me, and I dropped my pack so I could shuffle down and look over the edge. And now I'm hiking back to my campsite where I had some signal, so I can call the police and report a suicide. And that is not how I wanted to start my day. It looks like the sheriff's department sent a helicopter out, and I know they're sending ground units too. I don't know if the helicopter can land anywhere here though. Looks like the fire department showed up, so the chopper is moving on to the next thing. And they asked me not to leave, so okay. So apparently they want me to wait until homicide gets here and make sure it wasn't a murder. I got an update from the sheriff, and he basically said that fire and rescue showed up, said, yeah, he's dead, and left. So now there's someone else. I think it's crime scene, possibly, but they're gonna go down and actually examine the body and try to determine if it was self-inflicted or not.
Visibly shaken, he called the police immediately. After a long round of questioning, he was allowed to leave. It was later confirmed that the death was self-inflicted. Dundee still had months of hiking ahead of him, and that's not the kind of thing you just walk off.